Hey, how's it going, everybody? I am going to be changing a brake master cylinder on a 2009 CX-7 Mazda right over there. So I'm going to show y'all guys how to do it. I ordered this part. They did not even tell me that it didn't come with a new reservoir, so I'm going to have to use the old reservoir. So I'm going to show you guys how to swap it out. Alright, so whenever you pop the hood open, brake master cylinder reservoir is right here. The battery is right here. I took the battery out already so I can get down on the master cylinder down there. So what you want to do first is, I got a little cup here, and there's a hose right here that I'm touching with a clamp on it. You can use some vise grips. You're gonna need a 10mm wrench to take the battery out. So you get the vice grips down underneath there, and then you can take that hose clamp and pull it up, which I already have done that. Now I just have to pull that hose off there's a smaller reservoir right there on the brake master cylinder, and then you have this top one. So I'm going to pull this off, and there's going to be fluid coming out, and I'm going to try to catch it in this cup. So it's draining out of that one. That's some pretty dirty brake fluid. It's supposed to be a clear color. Just gonna let that drain all out. And there's a little bit that was draining from that spot over there. See it dripping? Not too much though. And I am going to bleed the master cylinder on the vehicle. I'm not going to bench bleed it. So it's pretty good. Pretty much got all the fluid up out of there. Just a little bit more drops. I don't want too much brake fluid falling on the card, because it is highly corrosive. So alright, so that's pretty good right there. Now what you want to do is make sure that there's no electrical connectors down on the brake master cylinder, which on this vehicle it doesn't look like there's any down at the bottom. Now there is one right here on the bigger reservoir, but I don't see any down there on the small one. So it looks like I can just take the hoses, these brake lines off, these two brake lines, break those off, and then there should be two nuts holding the brake cylinder, the brake master cylinder on there. It looks like a bracket too. Looks like a bracket's holding it on, so there might be a couple more bolts for this one. Looks like maybe two more nuts, maybe three. Looks like there's a shield holding it on. So I'm gonna take those off real quick. So I'm gonna take those off, both these brake lines off, and then those nuts off down there. And there's another hidden one back over there. Alright, so before I take these brake lines off the master cylinder right here, what I'm going to want to do is put some rags down underneath there, so if any brake fluid comes out of that smaller reservoir, it'll drop on the rags. So just going to stuff them underneath there real quick. So I already got them loose. So I can just loosen them by hand now. I should be wearing gloves, but it's alright. Just make sure you wash. If you don't have gloves, just make sure you wash your hands off right away after when you get done, because it will start burning your hands. I just ran out of gloves, so okay, got the brake lines off. Dripping a little bit of fluid. Alright, as soon as that gets done dripping, I'm going to try to keep those up. These brake lines right here, I want to keep them facing up, so it keeps the air from going down in it. Alright, now I got the brake lines off. I'm going to take that bolt off, that bolt off down there, and then there's like two more down over on that side. You can't really see it, so I'm going to have to use like extensions and swivel tools. But yeah, I'll show you what I guys use here in a second. Alright, now for those two nuts that were holding on the brake master cylinder, I used, you don't have to have one of these, but use a snap-on impact gun with a 12-inch extension and I think that's a 12mm swivel socket. So took off that nut that was on that thread down there, and the one down on that side, you can barely see it. There was a shield on there, so once you take those two nuts off, the shield actually falls down, so make sure you catch it. And I have the shield down there just propped up against some hoses, so it's fine right now. So I'm going to take off the brake master cylinder. It should slide right off. Get that hose out of the way. Oh, there goes that shield. Alright. Okay, so here's my new one. Here's my old one. Looks like it's been leaking. It's pretty corrosive. So, all right, I just got to swap this over to the new one. Be right back. All right, so the new master cylinder has this little hole right there. Now it comes with this metal piece that goes through it that holds the reservoir on. So you got to take this old one out. So you want to put it on a vise and get a punch. I used a, let's see, a 3/8. I used a 3/8 punch and just went from one side, bing, bing, bang, hit it with the hammer until it came out over here. Then what you want to do is get a pair of vice grips and just grab it. After when you get it pretty much halfway out, then you can pull the reservoir off. Or you can just pull it right out. Alright, the reservoir should pop right off. Just like so. Everything looks good. No cracks. Hasn't been leaking around the seals, so that's good. Alright. And now I'm going to put this one on. It goes on this way, of course. And before I stick this on, what you want to do is just clean this out really good, and then put some new brake fluid on the seals down here to lubricate it. So that's what I'm going to do next, right guys? Alright, so what I did was I put the new brake master cylinder on the vise. I put the old reservoir back on. Now this old reservoir, you really have to push down on it while you're putting in the pin, or it's going to pop up. So you got to really apply pressure down. My vise is loose right now, but apply pressure down and then hit that with a hammer. Hit that inside there. It's like just a pin to hold this in place. So yeah, I'm gonna go put this on the car now. Just make sure when you have this new one on the vise, don't put it on too tight, because you'll mess up the holes right here. All right, guys. All right. So before you put on the new brake master cylinder, make sure that O-ring's on there. This black O-ring. Make sure it's nice and it's not torn or anything like that. Okay. And then I'm going to put it on there. So see you in a second. Okay, I got the brand new brake master cylinder on the vehicle, on the brake booster. I put the shield back on. Now all I have to do is tighten up those two nuts. So probably won't be able to do this with one hand, but let's see. I got that one. Make sure it's tight. Alright, it's nice and tight. Next, what you want to do is put this main hose back on. Just like that. And there is a clamp. For some reason, somebody put this clamp on the other side, which was a big pain in the butt to get to. So, I'm going to rearrange it to this side. See if it'll be a little easier. There we go. Got that clamp on there. Alright. Now it's time to put these on, but not fully. Which I should have kept the master cylinder loose so I can get these on a little easier. Just want to thread it by hand a little bit. Alright, so those got on pretty good. Alright, so loosen it back up. Alright, now it's time to fill this up with brake fluid. Alright. So takes .3. Alright, so alright, well, since it's just me here, I don't have a partner. Usually this is a two-man job, but you can do it with one person, and I'm going to show you how. So with this vehicle, the battery, of course, is in the way of the lines down there. So I had to take the battery out. So what I did was got my jump box, hooked it up to the power and the negative side. And then what you want to do is make sure your fluid is totally full. And then you want to crack the lines to where you see them leaking. Okay, that's starting to leak. This one's leaking. Alright. And then the reason why I have the battery on, my jump box on, is because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my long trim tool here. You can use a long screwdriver, or a long metal pole. But I have this, so what I'm going to do is I am going to lodge this onto the seat. So and it's going to act just like if somebody's pressing the brake pedal down. Pops up, that's not good. Alright. So now I have the brake pedal depressed with my tool. Now what you want to do is get your wrench and then tighten up the brake lines. Do it by hand. So you get it tight first with your fingers, and then make them tight as possible. Just make sure you don't break anything, don't strip anything. So basically what that does is get all the air out. Alright. Now you want to repeat that process like 4 to 5 times. Alright. So I got the lines tight back up. So what you want to do is come back over here. Move the seat back. I already moved it back though. Take this back off. Leave that right there. And you want to go back to the lines and crack them open again. Make sure your fluid's still good. There's bleed in the system. Alright, they're dripping. So you go back over here, put this back on the brake pedal. Alright, so I got the brake pedal depressed. Then you want to tighten the lines back up. with your fingers first until it gets tight. Once again, guys, you should be wearing gloves whenever you do stuff like this. I just don't have any right now. Alright, lines are tight. Then you want to take this back off. So this is the second round. Then you go back over here and loosen them back up. Alright, so they're loose. You come back over here, and then you put this back on the brake. Alright, then you tighten them back up. And you get it with your hand, and then you can tighten it. Make sure you guys tight it tight as possible. Alright, and then just go back over here, and then take this back off the brake. And then you want to repeat that process one more time. Alright, so I got to do this 2 more times, but instead of using my trick here, I actually have a pair of legs. So I'm going to get her to get in the car and press that pedal down. Make sure she does not let up on that pedal. When I say press it down, she's going to push it straight to the floor, and do not let it go. Once you let it go, if the lines are still open, you'll suck in a whole bunch of air. So got to keep that pedal pressed down the whole time. Alright? I'll let you know when to push it.
Hold on. I gotta move the seat. How do I move the seat up? Oh, I got it.
It's on the side.
I gotta be able to do it.
Do not push the pedal.
Not touching it.
Alright. Oh, so much easier if somebody's here. Yeah. Okay, press and hold it down. There was a lot of fluid that came out there. I heard a little bit of squirting, so there was some air still in it. Okay, let it go. Okay, press it down. Okay, let it go. Okay, this next time, push it down hard as you possibly can, okay? I'll tell you when. You don't have to push it down fast, just push down hard fully. I'll tell you no. Okay, go. Okay, let it go.
Okay.
Now pump the brake. Does it feel stiff?
Oh yeah.
Feels real stiff. Good.
Very stiff.
Very stiff. All right. That's what I like to hear.
You done with me?
I am finished with you. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm gonna fill off the top off the reservoir. All right. Put the cap.
Let me know when you need me to move.
So I topped off the reservoir. Put the cap back on. All right. And then now I'm going to take my jumper box off. Going to put the battery back in and go for a test drive. See if this thing stops on a dime. And before you put the battery back on, you want to make sure you get some brake cleaner and just clean everything off. There's a whole bunch of brake fluid. Might have dropped down on something. It's highly corrosive, so just clean it off. Be a nice person, especially if it's not your car, like this one. Alright. Looks pretty clean. I'll get some paper towels and make that look new. Alright. Yeah. You can actually see the max line now. Yep, it's at the top of the max line. So you gotta make sure there's no leaking anywhere. I don't see no leaks. Everything looks good. Alright, time to put the battery back in.
Okay, I gotta pull out the drum.
Alright, so got the battery back on. Nice and tight. Everything's good, no leaking anywhere, so I'm gonna go and take this puppy for a test drive. Alright, so come to a stop sign, and the brake pedal's super nice and perfect. Stops on a dime. Look at that. Brake pedal's still really high. Did not have to take off the wheels to bleed each caliper. Didn't have to take off any wheels. So that's how you bleed a master cylinder straight on the car. If this video helped you guys, please smash my subscribe button. I'm trying to hit over 1,000 subscribers. Hit the notification bell for more car tips and tricks. I do work on the side on vehicles, and so yeah, appreciate you guys watching. Thank you and have a nice day.